Welcome to Moodle 5 Lesson 1. At the end of this lesson, you will know how to stop burying your best thinking under background details and over-explanation. You'll be able to lead with the answer, structure your reasoning so that busy decision makers can follow it fast, and sound clearer, sharper, and more senior in high-tech rooms. Let's get into it. You are in a board prep meeting. Your analysis is good. You have done the work. You understand the issue better than most people in the room. But when your turn comes, you start where many smart professionals start. Well, there are a few things to consider. First, if we go back to the last quarter, we saw some early signals in the regional numbers. And then when the policy shift happened, there were a few knock-on effects on cost assumption. And if we look at the two customer segments separately, you are 30 seconds in. Now, think about this. The room is already drifting. One executive is checking whether you have a point. Another is guessing your conclusion before you reach it. A third has stopped listening carefully because your structure is making them work too hard. This is tragic. Thinking may be strong. The communication is making it look weaker than it is. Poor structure does not only waste time, it quietly lowers perceived judgment. What this means is that when you lead with background instead of conclusion, senior people start doing one of three things. They interrupt early, they guess your recommendation for you, or they downgrade your strategic value without saying it aloud. That matters because you can be right and still sound genuine. You can be thoughtful and still sound fussy. You can have the answer and still lose the room before they hear it. The reason for this model is straightforward. Good communication is not reporting everything you know. It is organizing what matters so that the listener can trust the logic fast. And this model exists precisely because the gap at this stage of this course is not insight, it is expression. Brilliant thinking that cannot be communicated clearly becomes invisible value. Here's the important idea and the mechanism that makes this method work. Pyramid thinking matches the order in which busy leaders listen, not the one in which you discovered your thinking. Most smart professionals communicate in the sequence. They did the work, they gathered the data, they analyzed the pattern, they test assumptions, they form a recommendation. That process is logic, but your audience does not need to relieve your discovery part. They need orientation fast. What you think, why you think it, and whether the logic holds. Now, let me make this practical with what the pyramid actually looks like. 3 layers. The top layer is the answer, your main conclusion, recommendation, or the message in one sentence. The middle layer is a supporting logic, 2 to 3 grouped reasons why the answer is correct. The bottom layer is the evidence, the fact, the numbers, the examples, and the comparison that prove each reason. So instead of saying you've been looking at onboarding data and branch behavior, and there are few dynamics to keep in mind, you say activation is not a UX problem. It's an incentive conflict problem. There are 3 reasons I say this. Now, the room knows exactly where you are taking them before you take them there. So reflect on this for a moment. Think of the last time you gave an update or recommendation in a high-stake room. Where did you start? With the answer or with the background? And how long did the room wait before they knew what you actually thought? Now, compare that with what pyramid thinking changes. It reduces listeners' effort. It makes your logic easier to test. It makes your recommendation easier to trust. And it makes pushback easier to handle because people can disagree with a specific layer rather than feeling lost inside a stream of details. Now, let's build on that with the misconception that holds most professionals back. People worry that leading with the answer sounds abrupt, too blunt, like you're skipping the evidence. Here's an important idea that corrects that. Leading with the answer does not skip nuances. It places nuances in the right place. The detail still exists. It just does not block the main point. And in most professional settings, it does not sound abrupt. It sounds senior. A weaker professional sounds like, I have a few thoughts. A stronger professional sounds like, my recommendation is X for 3 reasons. Same intelligence, completely different impressions. Write this down. Do not build suspense around your conclusion. Let's talk about the tool. The pyramid builder. It runs in 5 moves. Each one is short. Move 1. Write the answer in 1 sentence. What do you want the room to believe, decide, approve, or do? Not the topic, not the context, the conclusion. Move 2. Identify 2 or 3 supporting reasons. Why is that answer right? Group them clearly. Each reason should be distinct, not a variation of the same point. Move 3. Place evidence under each reason. facts, numbers, examples, comparison scenarios. Each piece of evidence sits underneath the reason it proves, not floating free. Move 4. Check the order. Does the structure move answers first, then reason, then evidence? If you find yourself leading with the context or qualification, move it down or cut it. Move 5. Tighten the language. Remove throat-cutting, scene-setting, and any detail that belongs lower in the pyramid. If it does not directly support the layer above it, it does not earn a place at the top. Let's build on this with a practical test you can run in any communication before you deliver it. Ask this: if the audience head wants the first 2 sentences, would they know what you're recommending and why it matters? If yes, you're leading with a pyramid. If no, you're still leading with a journey. Let me take you through an example. A bank leadership team is reviewing stagnant activation after a mobile onboarding redesign. The product manager has done real work. She has good data, but the first version of the update sounds like this. We have been analyzing the activation journey across the app redesign and branch linked accounts, and there are a few dynamics to keep in mind. Adoption of the redesigned flow improves slightly in some regions, although not evenly. And when we compare onboarding experience against historical activation numbers, now think about this. The room is working hard to find her point, and the longer they work, the more they start to wonder whether the point is actually there. She rebuilds it with the pyramid builder. Top layer, the answer. Activation is not stalled because the app redesign failed. It is stalled because branch incentives are still pulling customers away from digital completion. Middle layer, key supporting reasons. App rating improved, but activation did not, meaning the UX is not the constraint. Drop-off is concentrated precisely where branch intervention is highest, and customers who complete digitally without branch hands-off activate at a materially better rate. And the bottom layer, the evidence underneath each reason. Rating improved from 3.6 to 4.2, while activation stayed flat. Regions with the highest branch-assisted account opening shows the lowest digital completion. Fully digital users activate 28% faster than branch-linked users. Field interviews show branch staffs are incentivized to redirect customers into offline steps. Here's an important idea in this case. The analysis did not become thinner. It became easier to trust. That matters because the room can now test the claim at any layer they choose. Is the answer right? Do the reasons hold? Is the evidence sufficient? Each question has a clear answer sitting in the right place in the structure. And that is what strong executive communication looks like, not less details, better organization of the detail that already exists. A weaker thinker believes that more details creates credibility. A stronger thinker shows structure creates credibility first, and details strengthens it only after the audience understands what the detail is here to prove. Take a moment to reflect on this. Take one update or recommendation you have delivered recently. Rebuild it in 3 lines. The answer in 1 sentence, the 2 or 3 strongest reasons, and the evidence under each. Then look at your original version and ask honestly, did you lead with the answer or did you make the audience dig it for it? Your workbook has the full pyramid builder template, the bank case written out across all 3 layers, and before and after comparison showing exactly what changed between the original and the rebuild version. Use this to rebuild one real communication before your next high-stake meeting. Here's something I need to carry along after this training. Lead with the answer. Group the logic. Prove it with evidence. That sequence, answer, reason, evidence, is not a presentation trick. It is how senior communicators respect the intelligence and the time of the people they are speaking to. Your action step before lesson 2 is in your next meeting. Look for the exact moment where you're about to start with background or context. Here's the answer first, then I'll show you why. Then structure the rest in 3 layers. Notice whether the room interrupts less. Notice whether your point lands faster. Notice whether your thinking sounds more senior, not because you said something different, but because the logic became easier to trust. See you in lesson 2.